Good morning. Retired in the country, early morning. How do I get things done? How do I plan? How do I keep track of stuff? I think we'll start back when I got ready to retire. I was a university professor, and for 30 some years I had taught, and I had a schedule. Monday night was always a class night, Thursday night was a class night, Wednesday were departmental meetings or group meetings, and so there was this routine, a planned. But I knew I was going to retire and I needed to figure out how to take care of things. So one of the things that I had done is I decided in 2017, after teaching almost 30 years, that I wanted to retire. And people would ask me, "You're going to retire? What are you going to do when you retire?" And I'd tell them, I wasn't retiring from something, I was retiring to something. And so part of that was travel. I knew I wanted to travel with my wife retired. I knew that I had been doing stained glass, which I'll show you some later sometime. And I hadn't done any for a while. My wife's health had been somewhat declining, and so we'd been busy, and I hadn't done stained glass. I'd also started keeping figs. When we moved into this place, we had 3 fig trees, and they grew, and we enjoyed the figs. And then finally, what happened was that the figs went away. One tree died, another tree died, and then a third tree. We still have some, and you can't really see it in the background here, but there's one big tree back there. So in 17, I decided I was going to retire, and I started winding down at the university. I took my last group of graduate students. I had a large number of doctoral students, and so I took the last of the doctoral students. And in the fall of 17, this is my last group. And I figured they'd graduate by 2021, which they almost all did. One didn't graduate in 2021. She graduated in 2022, but I had everybody graduated by 2021, which was a good thing to have done. So I had no university requirements. So one of the things that being retired means that you don't have a schedule. Like I said, I had this university schedule, but how do I keep track of things now? Well, one of the first things I do is I keep a number of calendars. Now, I know you can keep them electronically, and I do. I keep them electronically so that when I go someplace, I can look at my calendar on my phone and say, what do I have scheduled? But I also keep a paper calendar, 2 paper calendars, or 1 paper calendar with 2 parts. One's a long-range schedule. And so this is the 25th of March. I already know what I'm doing through next September. I know that September 26th, there's a bee school for which I'm the director for. And therefore I know I have some things I have to get done before that. And so I've scheduled meetings on Thursday nights for the bee school club committee to do things so we know what. We have to have food, we have to have speakers, we have to have a venue, we have to someone to manage the venue, we have to have vendors. So all those I have committees, and we meet, and so we have that point out there. I know that I'm going to go back to Uzbekistan sometime in late July or August. Those dates aren't set. I also know I have a conference the 20th of June, which happens to be my birthday. And do I want to make a presentation at that conference? And since I decided I did, I thought, well, I need to get ready to do that and figure out whether we have the equipment for that. I also know that the 16th of February or 16th of May, there's a conference in Colorado. I've been involved with this Deerfield project, which was one of the homes of African Americans, freed enslaved people, established as a homestead area in northern Colorado. A friend of mine has been working on that and has various grants, and so they have a meeting every year. And I'm going to go to that one this year. I haven't in the past. And then I know that in April, I have several things going on. I also have well, with my bees, I have to go pick some bees up. I bought some new bees. I bought a package of bees, a package of Russian bees. Most of the bees I have are just general mutts, but they're probably some Italian, probably some German, even some Africanized, although these bees aren't spicy or mean. So I know I have to go get that. So that's 2nd and 3rd of April. And then the 5th of April, I have a conference. I have to leave 6th of April for a conference that's in Los Angeles. And I'll be there the 7th and 8th. And then the 9th, I'll come home. Well, I also have a conference the 10th, 11th, and 12th of April. So that's on my book. And am I ready for that conference? Well, not yet, but I'm getting there. So, and then another point on my calendar is this Saturday, March 28th, is the anniversary of my wife's death. And so I'm going to have some family over, and we're going to go out and eat, and we're going to think about that and remember things to do that. So I keep this calendar, this long-range calendar and a short-range calendar. So yesterday I had a webinar at 7 o'clock, and so that was on the calendar. I've been able to see that, so I can schedule my day around that. One of the things I like to do every day is I try to have in my mind what I'm going to have for dinner that night. I was often told that having a dinner prepared, knowing what you're going to have dinner, takes one decision you have to make off your mind during the day, and you don't have to worry about that. As you think about it, if you haven't decided what you're going to have for dinner that night, all day, you're constantly thinking, well, what am I going to have? What am I going to have? So those are some of the things that I do. I also, like I say, every morning I spend a little bit of time out here. You can see my hibiscus behind me, and it's getting lighter. You can see some sunrise in the background. Hibiscus was my wife's favorite flower, and so I try and keep hibiscus around. I enjoy them too. I also know on my long-range calendar that I've got some work to do. I've got figs that I need to transplant. I rooted them, and now I need to transplant them. And I've got 2 or 3 trees that I need to move and transplant. So there's always these things on my list, and that's a short intermediate list. It's the next 2 or 3 days probably, getting those trees planted and some of the fig plants repotted, just to do those things. And then there's always little maintenance things around. You can hear the wind chimes this morning. The wind's picking up. Pretty noisy. We enjoy wind chimes. They were my favorites. My wife's favorite thing to have around is wind chimes, and so we have 5 or 6 of them. Have some in the house. When the house windows are open, they chime. But anyway, so how do I plan? How do I keep track of time? Well, I keep a paper calendar, long range and short range things to do. I make lists daily as to things I need to do today and tomorrow, so I have an idea what I want to do. And so if you have techniques that you use to keep track of your time, particularly if you're tired, one of the things that after my wife retired, she had a hard time figuring out, remember what day it was, because she didn't have to go to work. And so I bought her a 7-day clock. It takes 7 days for the clock hands to go around. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so all she had to do is look up there and see what day it was. So as I say, if you have something you do to keep track of time, put it down in the comments. And like this video if you do. Liking it means I get to make more of these and put them up for you. So anyway, so this is from March 25th, 2026. How do I keep track of myself when I'm retired in the country?